You always hear, don't talk about features, talk about benefits of the product. Everybody says that's 100% incorrect. You don't talk about the benefits of the product. You only talk about the benefit to the human being, what that means to the human being. No one gives a dang about the benefit. I could say, look, this water bottle, I could talk about the benefits of it. The way it's shaped is it's easier for you to hold it. The way the cap is, it's easier for you to twist it off than other water bottles. See, that is a benefit of this product. And I'm sitting here as a consumer saying, what's it mean for me? And you all know, right? You've heard this before. Everybody listens to one radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me? So what you do is you catch yourself when you're talking about your product or service or your company. No one cares about, we've been in business for 37 years and we love helping people. I would think you do. What do you hate helping people? But you hear that all the time. Again, it's nobody's fault. It's your previous conditioning of what you've seen or been taught to do. So you only do what you know. So what you want to get is when you catch yourself talking about the benefit of the product, you want to say, and what this means for you is, I call it the bridge to people's heart. The bridge to people's hearts are literally the exact line of words. What this means for you is. Then you tell them one or two or three things of what you just said about your product, how that impacts their life.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Awesome Wholesaler Experience Podcast, where we look into the many facets of the job, the career, the lifestyle, everything investment and insurance product wholesaling. I'm your host, the creator of the Awesome Wholesaler Experience, and yours truly, Awesome Mike. Hey everyone, today's guest on the show is a real celebrity, not a pretend one, not a wannabe one. He's an actual real one. Let me introduce you to him, Mr. James Malinchak. Now, he's recognized as one of the most requested, in-demand business and motivational keynote speakers and marketing consultants in the world. In fact, he was featured on ABC's hit television show, The Secret Millionaire, and he has twice been named the National College Speaker of the Year. Now, James he looks very young, but he's actually delivered over 3,000 presentations for corporations, business groups, colleges, universities, and youth organizations across the world. And as a speaker, marketing coach, and consultant, James is the behind-the-scenes go-to marketing advisor for many top speakers, authors, thought leaders, business professionals, celebrities, sports coaches, athletes, and entrepreneurs. James is also an accomplished author, having written almost 24 books, including a bestseller that he co-authored with his good friend. Well, let me just tell you, Jack Canfield wrote many chicken soup for the soul books. James is the chicken soup for the college soul, and he is recognized today as the world's #1 big money speaker, trainer, and coach. Welcome to the show, Mr. James Malinchak. How are you, sir? Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, you're in South Florida. The storms are going out there. I was digging around a little bit, and I saw a clip that you posted, and you had the rock in your hand, and you were breaking a little sweat. Are you getting back into hooping?
I've never left.
My man.
I did. I hurt my knee. I was training for a marathon, and I was on a treadmill and stepped the wrong way and thought I blew my knee out. And so I was down for about 14, 15 months, not doing anything. So yeah, I just recently got back into playing hoops. I played in college and was pretty decent in high school as well. So trying to get back into it, but I was just nursing a knee injury.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you're a tall fellow, so you're carrying around a lot of weight on those knees. Got to take care of them for sure. But now, are you playing semi-pro stuff? Are you playing pickup games? Or are you just keeping in shape?
No, I play for fun now. I wanted to go pro when I was going to come out of college, but I blew my knee out in a game, twisted it, tore my ACL and tore my meniscus, and I have some major surgery on it.
Oh, geez.
When you do something like that, anybody's had an injury, you know that you're not as quick, you're not as fast, I don't care what they say, it does not come back the same.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. You brought up college a little bit. Why don't you, if you would, share with us your, I call him your Drake story. Drake, the Canadian rapper. You started at the bottom, and I've actually been in the crowd when you've talked about your humble upbringings and kind of how you got into the big money speaker role.
Yeah. I grew up in a very tiny steel mill town outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a small town called Menneson. I think roughly about 8,000 people, a steel worker town. My dad actually worked in the steel mill. My mom was a lunch mother serving lunches to the kids at the school, including me. And we didn't have much growing up. But I ended up taking a basketball scholarship to the University of Cincinnati right out of high school, and was a pretty good high school basketball player. We won the state championship, and I was first team All-State. And, I think I was honorable mention All-Americans and things like that.
Nice.
Recruited a whole bunch of Division I schools. And that was my dream. I thought, man, I'm going to play in the NBA, or I'm going to play overseas somewhere. And long story short, my coach had gotten fired from Cincinnati, and I ended up transferring and went out to Hawaii and played at the University of Hawaii at Hilo and blew my knee out in a game. So moved to Los Angeles after, because I didn't like cold weather after living in Hawaii,
right?
Go from the Pittsburgh area to Cincinnati, where it's cold in both places. Then I go out to Hawaii, and I was like, whoa, man. I remember it was Christmas Day one day, and my knee, I'd blown it out, so I wasn't traveling with the team. And it was Christmas Day. My mom called me because she felt really bad. I wasn't traveling with the team. And she's like, oh, honey, are you okay? I literally had my hand on the doorknob. I was turning the doorknob to go out to the beach on Christmas Day. So, yeah, I'm all right, Mom, even though my knee's blown out.
Something's wrong with that.
Yeah. So long story short, I moved to Los Angeles because I wanted to stay in warm weather. And I had a lot of connections with people who were playing pro sports because of my background. And so I actually got into financial services, and I started out right out of college with Merrill Lynch, and then moved over to Dean Witter at the time, and then got recruited because I did pretty well there, was number 1 in new account openings in my entire training class, and I got most outstanding performance, and I was number 2, I think it was, or 3 in assets under management in my first year.
Nice.
My training class. So got recruited by Payne Weber in the Beverly Hills office. They threw me a bunch of money, and I moved my book over. And I used to be right down on Rodeo Drive, man, right across from the Wilshire, the Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel, where they filmed Pretty Woman. I used to eat lunch there 4 times a week, and I managed the investments of a lot of entertainers, celebrities, pro athletes, et cetera, et cetera. And because of that sort of success, I started getting asked to speak for different business groups. And I was like, what do you want me to talk about? Like, I don't speak. And they said, well, we'll pay you X number of thousands of dollars. And I'm like, well, I speak. Like, Mama didn't raise no fool. Somebody wants to give you money to talk. I'm talking anyway.
That's awesome.
That's how I started the whole speaking career. And then I just fell in love with it. And here we are all these years later and all these talks later.
I know that you did a lot of work with the college environment, at least initially. It looks like you're very diverse now. Was that because you look so young and because you affiliated with them, or did you just want to give back to the college group?
Oh, great question. I actually wanted to give back to the college group. I started to write a book. I thought one day while I was in college, I said, there's a major problem with students today in colleges and universities. They teach you all this theory and stuff about how to get a job. But I was a C student, and so I didn't look good on a sheet of paper. I didn't look better than everybody else on a resume. I wasn't the president of every campus organization. I didn't make straight A's. I wasn't valedictorian, anything like that. But I ended up beating out 74 candidates to get a position as in the financial services industry. And I wasn't the most qualified. And so what happened, and I did it 6 months before I graduated from college. So I started thinking one day, I was walking to a movie and I thought, man, there needs to be a book like this for people like me, the average everyday C student in college who has this dream and this desire to land what I call their dream job, but they let everybody convince them they can't do it because they hear, you're not smart enough, you don't have any experience, you're wet behind the ears, you're too young, et cetera, et cetera. And so I said, man, I'm going to write the book. I didn't know anything about writing a book. It took me like 5 years, I think it was, to do it. And I just literally did what I told everybody, I told these kids what I did. And it all, I tried to narrow it down, and I figured it out that the reason I was able to get hired, it came down to 3 things. And I think this is the key for every business out there, and definitely the key if you want to get hired. It doesn't matter how great you look on a sheet of paper. It comes down to how you package, market, and sell yourself. And he or she who does that the best will always win, in my opinion. So let me give you this little example to prove this. So I remember we're down to 2 candidates to get hired, and the guy I was competing against was from Yale, graduating from Yale with high honors, and he had I think it was an economics degree. And I was coming from, Hawaii, where I was hanging out on a beach. I was a C student. So on paper, there's no way I could possibly win in theory, right? So one of the things I always teach salespeople, entrepreneurs, business people, kids going after a job is you figure out all the objections, all the reasons why, if you're going after a job, they shouldn't hire you. And then you have an answer for every one. So if it ever pops up in the interview, you got an answer for it. Same thing with objections when you're trying to pursue someone or something. Figure out all the reasons they should not buy, and you better have an answer for everyone. So my main reason they wouldn't hire me was I was too young, didn't look as good as the other person. So I already figured that out. So the guy said to me in the interview, and this is a great teaching point for everybody listening. The guy said to me in the interview, so, well, we like you, got a great positive attitude, but we think we're going to have to go with this other guy because, the guy's coming from Yale and he's got he's high honors and he's got a financial background. Now, had I not figured it out, I would have just ran away and put my tail between my legs, right? But because I figured it out, I stood up, Mike, and I said, well, I can understand how you might think so-and-so is more qualified than me on his resume. And I picked up a sheet of paper and I held it. And then I crumbled it up and I said, and I threw it over my shoulder. I said, I don't think this job is about a piece of paper. Can I give you a suggestion, sir? And he said, sure. I was shocked, right? I didn't know what I was doing back then. Now it's a pattern interrupt in NLP, right? You interrupt people, right? And so he said, what's your suggestion? I said, sir, I think you should hire both of us and put both of us head to head against each other for 6 months. And if at the end of 6 months, I'm not out producing him in every single category, you could fire me, sir. Matter of fact, you won't have to fire me. I will quit and walk away because I will match my I will against his IQ any day of the week.
That's awesome, man. It
was like a whole minute of silence, and I'm like, oh crap, what did I say? Like my pits are sweating. I got sweat coming down my back. I was like, whoa, because he didn't say anything. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's gonna throw me out of his office, right? And he said, nah, I don't need to hire both of you. I want somebody like that who has that kind of heart and desire. Do you want the job? I said, yeah, absolutely. And he said, can you start on Monday? I said, man, I'll start right now. He's like, no, Monday's good. Monday's good. So that's what I started out teaching kids, how to beat out anyone for any position and how to package, market, and tell yourself. It was all based on my book, From College to the Real World, Street Smart Strategies for Landing Your Dream Job and Creating a Successful Future. So the reason I got started is I had this sheer desire to help see students who are told they can't get the dream job because they don't look as good as everybody else. So that's how I started on it.
Dude, I love it. In fact, that's one of my favorite quotes that you have is that if you can have a low IQ if you have a high I will.
I will. Absolutely, my man.
I mean, that's dope. Now, let me ask you this question. You're a financial services guy. What'd you get on your Series 7?
Oh, man, I barely – matter of fact, I failed my Series 7 the first time. And so I ended up – because I wasn't academically, and I couldn't remember things. I was a horrible test taker, even in college. And so I took a class. I took it was called Test Pastors or something like that. And I took a class where you go through it Monday through Friday, and then you take the weekend off and you go take your exam on Monday. And I passed the exam. I don't remember what I got, but I just barely passed. Because here's my whole thing, man. Just get me licensed and let my chutzpah and let my heart and spirit go to work, and I'll blow all these people out of the water. Just get me licensed.
Yeah, statistics show that the higher your Series 7 score, the more likely you're going to wash out of the business because it takes hard work. It takes dedication. It takes almost a maniacal focus on it, as opposed to, if you score a 95 on your Series 7, you're a good test taker. You've been taking tests. You've had an easy way of life through college because you're a good test taker. And picking the phone up is not a test. That's work. Yeah. That's grinding out. So that's the I will. So that's interesting that you do that. Now,
matter of fact, Mike, in speaking, it's the same thing. I see all these people, I see them all over social media bragging about these ribbons they win as a speaker and these trophies. And I'm like, open up your bank account and show me how much you got paid to speak. Anybody can go out there and talk for free and win ribbons, but show me how many bookings you have and show me that you're brought back 10, 12, 15 times for high fees. That's the real judge, not some ribbon.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. You know, was there a moment in time where you kind of had that inflection point where you really made it as a big money speaker?
Oh boy, I would say it was when I got out of debt, and I was starting to make. There was a time when I was heavily leveraged and in debt because it started as a speaker. I didn't know what I was doing. It's like anything in any business, right?
Right.
You start a business, you don't get training and you don't know what you're doing. You're just winging it. You see it all the time I see brokers or financial services people all the time. They put an open sign on an office door and they think they're in business. No, according to small business statistics, you're 12 to 18 months from being out of business because the clock's ticking.
That's right.
And so nobody taught me, even when I got into the financial services biz, nobody taught me the two most important. This is my whole business philosophy right here for my business. It always has been. I have two rules. Two rules. Rule number one, get and keep customers or clients. Rule number two, keep more net income in my pocket than going out. And I said net income in my pocket, not gross revenue in the business. So literally, when I got in financial services, and also when I got into speaking, no one taught me that. I was taught, learn the products and, product knowledge, product base, all that stuff. And I'm like, crap, man, I need clients. See that, and when I got into speaking, it was the same thing. Everybody said, work on your story, have stage mechanics. I'm like broke here trying to get this thing going. I need a booking. Like I could be, and I would say this, you could be the best speaker in the world. If I can get to the people who have the budgets, I'll beat you every day of the week. Doesn't mean I'm a better speaker. Just means I'm getting to the people who are the decision makers and I'm convincing them to pick me and have me speak for their group and pay me a check. And so, I truly believe when I made it was when a mentor of mine said to me, stop studying people in your industry, the speakers, and start learning from marketers and take what you learn from the marketing and apply it to your speaking business. And man, when I did that, Mike, my first year of doing it, I didn't like knock it out of the park, but I did about 40 bookings. And then the second year I did 100 bookings and I would just crank 100, 150 bookings a year. I think my busiest year was about 157 bookings. And here's why. I woke up, and I wish I would have done this back in financial services when I started out. I didn't know this back then, but I woke up. I said, wait a minute. The most important thing is I got to get to the people who have the budgets and get them to book me to speak, right? In financial services, what do I got to do? I got to get to people who have discretionary income, and I got to convince them that it's safe and that we can give them a good return and that I will serve them and make a difference for them and to grow their money for them or protect them from taxes, et cetera. That's what my whole day should be about. So in speaking, when I figured that out, I woke up every day and I said, man, what if I spend 2 hours a day just going after people who have budgets and asking them to book? And then when I started to get that momentum that first year, I'm like, wait a minute, this is the real business. What if I woke up and did it 5 hours every single day? And that's how I went to over 100 some talks a year. And then I built up a database of 10,000 event coordinators. And then it became easy to get a business because I had all those coordinates. But like if I, back in financial services, if I would have woke up every day and spent all day and got rid of all that other noise, right? Hanging out with the other brokers in the office and talking to the admin people. If I would have just woke up every day, got in my office, shut the door, and spent all day long looking for new people, I would have been a lot more successful faster.
Yeah, that's such words of wisdom. And you've actually taught a lot of folks that over the years, one vocally, but also by your example. One other thing that you've taught and that you teach people is a very important concept, and that is you teach people how to pay you.
Yeah.
Can you shed some light on what that is and maybe how other businesses might be able to do the same?
Yeah. So I have a concept that you have to teach people how to give you money. Because your clients or your prospects, your customers, they don't wake up every day thinking, oh, hey, how can I give Mike more money today? He's awesome.
Unfortunately, right?
Yeah. So we have to teach them how to give us money, right? So, a very basic example. I mean, the old cliche with McDonald's, right? Would you like fries with that? The old upsell. Like, so think about any business, right? You have people who walk in. I see that drives me nuts when I go into like, probably you too, because I know you're an astute marketer, but it drives me nuts when I go into like a restaurant, like a sandwich shop, and they don't ask me for my contact information. So watch this.
Exactly.
I walk into a pizza shop by my house in Vegas, and I had been going in there for years. Okay. And I was eating in there literally 4 or 5 times a week when I was actually building my house, because it was right by an apartment that I rented. So I grabbed a pie or I grab a sandwich or something. Then I go over, check on the house, that sort of thing. So finally, one day I'm in there and I see the guy, his name is Kevin. He was writing another check to run another ad for the Sunday newspaper insert, right? And he wrote this $5,000 check. And I was like, Kevin, come here, sit down. I said, let me ask you a question. I just couldn't take it anymore, Mike. And here's the answer to your question you had. This is how any business could start, teaching people how to give you money. I said, Kevin, how long have I been coming in here? He said, man, I don't know, 3, 4 years. And I said, would you consider me a pretty good customer? He goes, oh, you're one of my top customers. And I said, man, you're lying. You're lying. Yeah, I'm not one of your, I am one of your top customers, but I don't feel that way. I said, you know how many times I've come in here and you've never once asked me for my contact information to put me on some kind of like mailing list or email list so that you can send me coupons so that I keep coming back in here? You know how many times I've come in here and I've had to wait in line for 20 minutes to get my pizza, and by the time I get it, it's cold? I mean, Kevin, check this out, man. We do this at my seminars, my events. Red stanchions, red carpet, costs about $300. Put it over here, okay? Have that red stanchion. I walk in. Let me pay you $20 a month to be a part of your pizza club. I bet there's a whole bunch of other people that would pay to be a VIP. And when I walk in, because I pay you $20 a month, I get to walk on this red carpet, go right to the front, get my dang pizza, and get out, right? Because time is money. Kevin, you're not in the pizza business. You're in the business of teaching people how to give you money. You know how many times I've called and it's just busy and busy and busy? You know how many times I've called and I heard this? A pizza shop, hang on a minute.
Exactly.
What? Like, Kevin, I mean, I can't wait to place an order. I'm busy. I checked with the phone company. It cost about $70 here in our area in Vegas. It cost about $70 to put in a second phone line. I know I have one in my house. I'll buy the phone line if you let me call this number instead of this number, because I'm paying you $20 or $40 a month to be a part of your pizza club. Then what I want you to get a big old red light and stick it on your phone, and I want you to train everybody in this pizza shop that when somebody calls and that light goes, woo, woo, and there's a siren, they drop everything and pick that up, because we're the ones paying your mortgage. Kevin, you're not in the pizza business. You're in the business of getting and keeping people like me and convincing us to keep giving you money. Sad little thing here, Mike. I was on the Secret Millionaire TV show. I hadn't seen Kevin in about 2 years because now my house was built. There was no reason for me to drive over there now. I told him, I said, Kevin, give me a punch card. And if I get 9 pizzas, I get the 10th one free. Dude, I'll drive across town to fill up that punch card because I'm not an underachiever. Right? I want my free $8 pizza. Right? And so long story short, Mike, I walk in. I was on the Secret Millionaire show. I hadn't seen him in about 2 years. I went to church with my sister one day, and then we went to lunch after. Walk into this restaurant near the church, and he's in there with his family, and I'm like, hey, Kevin, how you doing? He's like, hey, James, I saw you on the show. And I say hi to everybody, and I say, hey, man, how's the pizza shop going? Ready for this? Oh, man, you know what, James? The economy was so bad that we had to go out of business. He didn't do one of the things that I told him to do. I have coaching programs that are $25,000 and $100,000 for me to consult for people. I gave him so much free consulting sitting at that table for that hour. He didn't do a dang thing with any one of those things, and then he goes and blames it on the economy.
What do you think causes people to not like buy in? Why do they not take that action?
So I think a couple things. Previous conditioning.
Okay.
Of previous things they've seen, right? Because we are a product of, unless you do great transformational work, you are a product of your beliefs, and you're a product of your human conditioning of what you've seen in the past, right? So if they don't know any better, that's a start. That's a first, thing. The second thing is awareness. See, you can't transform until you are aware. Once you are aware of a situation and aware of a new path, you can now transform. So the first part of all transformation is awareness. I made him aware. Okay? The third part is something that nobody can do for anybody. So I always say, look, it's mindset, it's skill set, right? Mindset, clearing out the old conditioning, the old beliefs. Skill set, finding a new path, being aware of a situation and a new way to do it, right? So it's mindset, skill set, but then there's a third component, and dang it, nobody can help you with the third component, right? That's get off your
asset. I do
it, man.
Exactly. That's exactly right, man. Your crowds go bananas when you say that, by the way.
Yes.
I love that, man. But it's so true.
I mean, Mike, I can get so much great information from you, right? And you can teach me, you can pour your spirit into helping me. But man, dang it, at the end of the day, if I don't get off my assets and do it, it's not your fault. It's my fault because I chose to keep the same old path. Nobody can make that. I always said, man, if I could ever put a course or a training together on how to get people to take action, I will be a billionaire. That's the one problem we all have, everybody, including me. I'm not just preaching about others. We all have that situation, right? So, the older I am, the more I get into it, it comes down to how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
How bad do you want it? Then do you have the commitment and the discipline to make it happen? Unfortunately, 97% of the people out there don't in business. That's why I always tell my audience, my students, I say, you want to strive to be a 3%er. It's the 3%ers that get things done. And then once you're a 3%er, then you want to strive to be a 1%. Don't be a 97%er. That's the status quo. That's what the majority of people wake up in business and just do, oh, I'm okay, just doing this. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're okay with it. But if you're telling me you have a financial problem, or you have a customer problem, or you have a retention problem, then you dang well better pull your head out of your butt and do something different.
Yeah, you talk about getting stuff done, and in fact, one of your favorite mantras, and it's an acronym, is GSDF.
That's right.
I love it. It's get shit done fast.
Yes.
Why do it fast, James? Why not be more methodical? Why not be the sniper rifle? Take your time, breathe, and hit the target. What's the benefit? What's the reason to get it done fast?
So, first of all, in order to get it done fast, all that means is you're learning a process, a system, some strategies, some tactics, and you're, applying them immediately, right? So I don't believe you have to climb up the wall. I believe you can springboard over. I remember there was a time where I was like, oh my gosh, if I could just make, 100 grand in a year, I would be so amazing. Like that would solve everything. And my dad made 29 grand a year working in a steel mill as a railroad conductor. That's not in any way to disparage my dad or anybody who's worked in the steel mill. It's just to show this fact. He worked he's the hardest working man I've ever known. And he never made more than $29,000 a year. And I grew up with that belief, that conditioning that hard work pays off. And it took me a long time to understand it's not about working harder, and it's not even about working smarter. It's about working right. Okay? I'll give you this little example. So when I wanted to get a basketball scholarship in high school, the 3-point shooting line was coming in my senior year. So I thought, you know what? Every college team is going to need a 3-point shooter who can maybe knock down a shot. Now guys knock down 8, 9, 10, 15 shots. But back then when it was starting out, Mike, you hit one, like a game-winning shot, like from a long distance, you're like a big deal. So my strategy was every college, I might not be the fastest or the quickest or the best defender, but dang, if I could become a pretty good 3-point shooter at this new thing coming in, maybe I could get a scholarship, and I only need one, right? So I practiced all summer long. Before my senior year, I bought a weight vest. I used to wear weight vests. I used to wear ankle weights. Okay, there was a playground right by my house. I was out there 10, 12, 15 hours. I used to shoot at night because my belief was if I can make it when it's dark, I can make it with the gym lights on. So I was like a gym rat, but outside on the court. I worked at the Knights of Columbus local little Knights of Columbus in Menneson, and I picked up spaghetti dishes, and I swept the floors so that I could make some money, and I could go to the store and I could buy a paintbrush, a tape measure, and paint, and I measured off a 3-point line on this court, and I painted it. Because my thought was, I'm going to be practicing and working my tail off all summer long, all day long, shooting these threes, and I'm going to get really good. And man, Mike, after about, 60 days, 2 months roughly, I couldn't make a shot. I was breaking everything, like not even coming close. And finally, I blew up one day. I took my shirt off, I threw it down, I kicked the ball down the street. I said some things I shouldn't have said. And every day over in the corner, we're in a tiny little town, Mr. Mason, our neighbor, would sit on his swing right by the court, his little red swing. It's actually still there to this day, all these years later, even though Mr. Mason passed away. And he would sit there and just watch, the kids in the playground. He'd watch me play and shoot. So when I blew up, he got off from his swing and he walked over to me and he said, "Hey, Malinchak, come here. I'm going to tell you why you're missing your shots." And I said, "Well, did you play?" And he said, "Nope, I've never played the game in my life." And I said, "Well, did you coach?" He said, "Nope, never coached in my life." I thought, how in the heck is this guy who never played and never coached going to tell me why I'm missing my jump shots? So sarcastically, I said, "Go ahead, Mr. Mason. Tell me why I'm missing them." And he said, "Son, you're out here working hard. I'll give you that. Because I see you all day out here in this hot sun. I see you at night. And I see you never even going up to your house for lunch or anything. So I give you that, and I give you that dedication." He said, "And in theory, you're working smart because you painted this 3-point line. You got this weight vest on. You got the ankle weights on. So you're trying to get stronger. I see you out here doing wrist curls. So you're working smart, especially trying to shoot from this distance. But son, you're not working right." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Son, your elbow is out on every shot. And I'm watching every ball that leaves your hand curve. You're shooting curve balls on every shot. There's an old line in basketball. Anybody who's ever played basketball, wherever the elbow goes, the ball flows. Right? And I had no idea I wasn't working right. And he said, "Son, get that dang elbow in and shoot the right way." Like, well, that makes sense. Even though I was rude and sarcastic to him because he didn't play or coach, it actually made sense because when he said, "Take a shot," and I took a shot and my elbow was out like that. He said, "You're not shooting the right way." And so I started to do that, Mike. And guess what? Almost instantly, shooting with mechanics and physics, shots started to go in. And it was so much easier to make the shots. And so what I realized, and it's one of the greatest business lessons, life lessons I ever got, was from Mr. Mason, basketball lessons. By the way, I went on to be a pretty good 3-point shooter. Got recruited by Notre Dame, DePaul, Arizona, Duke, and ended up settling on Cincinnati at the time out of high school. So thanks to Mr. Mason. One of the greatest lessons, it doesn't matter if you're working right. It doesn't matter if you're working hard or smart. You got to work right. It's all about working right. So when you work the right way in your business, that $100,000 goal I had of, man, if I just make that in a year, I've done that in 90 minutes from the stage now because I have the right presentation that teaches people, educates them, and makes them come to the inevitable conclusion in their mind that they want to go deeper with me and learn more from me there, so that therefore they go and buy all my stuff in the back. Okay, so I could work hard at doing something and in theory work smart, or I could work right. So I think that why spend a whole year trying to do something when you can condense and collapse time and do it in a day, an hour?
Dude, I love it, man. I love it. A lot of the wholesalers that are listening and tuning in, and even the financial advisors, they do a lot of presentations from the stage.
Yeah.
But the wholesaler, I can't create a table rush, or at least maybe you can help me design it so I can create a table rush, because it's an indirect sale. The financial advisors are actually the ones that are selling the product to their clients. Any ideas on how a wholesaler can create a table rush or really use the techniques that you do on stage?
Yeah, I'll give you, I spend hours teaching people this and writing their presentations for them, but I can give a couple of quick tips that instantly will dramatically increase your conversions. Instantly. So let me tell this story. So I was speaking in Las Vegas at a big old convention, because I live in Las Vegas. I have a place here in South Florida also, but I was in Vegas and I was speaking at a convention. on the way home, I thought, you know what, I'm going to kill some time. I'm thinking about getting a new car. I'm going to stop off at a couple car dealers and just check it out, right? So you know what happens, Mike? You pull on the lot and like the vultures come after you.
I do.
Right? The salespeople, right? And I love it. I'm like you, right? I love it when people try to sell me, right? Because I just play dumb. I want to see how good they are. Right? So I'm looking at this car. Guy comes over, hot shot young dude, and he pops open the hood. And he starts showing me spark plugs. He starts telling me about the engine and how this is all connected. And I just let him go for about 3, 4, 5 minutes. And finally, I said, hey, buddy, step back. And I shut the hood. I said, let me teach you how to sell me this car. I said, first, size me up. I'm in a pretty fancy suit. I got shine shoes. I got a white shirt on, a pretty nice watch, and I have a nice tie, like you're dressed today. I have a nice tie on. I said, do you think I even know what a spark plug is? Seriously.
Right.
You still shouldn't assume. You should ask me a probing question. Sir, with this vehicle that you're looking at possibly getting, what are some things that are most important for you? And I would have quickly told you, look, for this car that I'm buying right now, I want to go fast and look cool. That's it. You should have grabbed the keys, tossed me the keys, say, take this puppy out on the freeway and zoom it around, put the top down, and go check this puppy out. And then I pull off the lot and I go take it for a little test drive, and you give your buddy the cue that he's following me in one of the cars behind me. So then I go cruising on the freeway. I come up to the exit and I get on the ramp and I stop at the red light. And I'm waiting at the red light, and all of a sudden this guy, aka your buddy, pulls up next to me, blows his horn and says, dude, that car goes really fast, and man, you're super cool. And then he drives off. How fast I can write you a check, right? So wholesalers, my friends, stop talking about spark plugs and the carburetor in the car, meaning how great your products and services are. No one cares about your products and services. The only thing, so watch this. Mike, I want to blow your mind. Okay. So do you know who Kevin Harrington is? Original Shark Tank? Shark Tank. Kevin's one of my buddies, a business partner of mine for a bunch of, actually he's coming to my coaching mastermind in 2 weeks to talk to my people for me. I've done tons of deals. If you go on bigmoneyspeaker.com and look over where it says affiliate section, look at the testimonial video of how much money he's made working with. Check it out. It'll blow your mind. So Kevin was at one of my trainings. He said he took 6 pages of notes on the first day, and I was teaching people how to convert better. And he said, I've sold $5 billion on television. I think it was 10 products that have gone to 100 million. And I've never thought about some of the things and the languaging that James teaches. So here's one of these things that's going to blow your mind. You always hear, right, don't talk about features, talk about benefits of the product, correct? Correct. Everybody says that's 100% incorrect, okay? You don't talk about the benefits of the product. You only talk about the benefit to the human being and what that means to the human being. No one gives a dang about the benefit. I could say, look, this water bottle, right, I could talk about the benefits of it. The way it's shaped is it's easier for you to hold it. The way the cap is, it's easier for you to twist it off than other water bottles. See, that is a benefit of this product. But I'm sitting here as a consumer saying, what's it mean for me? Right? And you all know, right? You've heard this before. Everybody listens to one radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me? That's right? So what you do is you catch yourself when you're talking about your product, your service, or your company. No one cares about, we've been in business for 37 years and we love helping people. Well, shit, I would think you do.
Exactly.
Like, what do you hate helping people? Right? But you hear that all the time. Again, it's nobody's fault. It's your previous conditioning of what you've seen or been taught to do. So you only do what you know, right? So what you want to get is when you catch yourself talking about the benefit of the product, right? You want to say, and what this means for you is, I call it the bridge to people's hearts. The bridge to people's hearts are literally the exact line of words. What this means for you is. And then you tell them 1 or 2 or 3 things of what you just said about your product, how that impacts their life. Okay. Awesome. You do that, watch your conversions go up. I'll give you one last one. Okay. Everybody makes this mistake. By the way, Mike, I always say when I see speakers who speak from the stage or on webinars who are going to speak and then make an offer, I always say, man, I could watch somebody for literally 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes max, and I know whether anybody's going to buy their stuff because I'm just listening for their languaging. I'm listening for stuff like this. Are they talking, or are they talking, bridging it to the heart? So I'm always doing that. And here's one of the biggest mistakes. Okay. Oh, crap. As I'm talking, I apologize. I'm going to walk. I got to get my cord because my battery's about to run out. So bear with me as I teach you. I'm walking. Okay. Walking through my house here and going up the stairs to plug it in. So everybody makes this mistake. Again, it's not your fault. It's our previous conditioning. We only do what we know. But everybody talks in terms of I, me, we, our, and us. We did this, and we've gotten X number of returns, and our product has been in service and business for 37 years, right? And what happens is when you start talking I, me, we, are, us, you shut off the subconscious mind. There's two parts of your mind. You have your conscious and your subconscious. Our conscious mind is what we're thinking with right now. Your conscious mind, you're thinking with right now. When you go to sleep, it goes to sleep. Your subconscious never sleeps. Okay? Your subconscious is the engine that drives your entire decision-making process. So when you speak I, me, we, are, us, subconscious goes to sleep, shuts down, so to speak, goes in stall mode, doesn't listen. When you switch it and talk the right way, subconscious pays attention, messages and images get embedded into the subconscious computer and easier to make decisions. Okay, so here's the trick. Ready? And this is going to make people throw up. When I teach this in my seminar, literally, I have people that start rewriting their books, rewriting their websites on the spot. Okay? You go through. One of the things I always say is if you're doing a presentation, record it, transcribe it, because that's the only way you can truly see where you're doing this is when you read it. Okay. You can't hear it all the time. Go through your presentation, and every place where you said, I, me, we, are, us, very simple. Replace it with you and your.
You and your.
That's it. I always say, look, I'm going to give you all one word that I'm telling you, if you do this one word, it will dramatically increase your conversions, guaranteed. I can increase almost anybody's conversions. I can get them to talk about what it means to the human being, the bridge to the heart, and if I can get them to change all the I, me, we, are, us's to you and your. I'll give you one example, and here's why. Conversion and attracting people to you to buy your products and services is about one thing, feeling. How people feel about your product, service, or company. And here's the beautiful thing. You can, boom, change somebody's feeling that fast based on the language you have. Here, I'll prove it, okay? I'm going to try and do the same lines, word for word. First time, I'm going to say I, me, we, are, us. Second time, you and your, okay? I'm going to share a strategy that has helped us tremendously in our business over the last 10 years, okay? We're so excited about where we're headed in the future, and I'm so excited to share this strategy. Now, notice how you feel. So anybody watching, notice how you feel. Now, here's the thing. When people talk like that, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, if I share something that's worked for us, then the people will get it and want to come work with us.
Right.
That's not the way the brain works. So here we go. Second scenario. I'm going to share a strategy with you that you are going to love, that will dramatically change your life, that will increase your business, increase your income, and you're going to be so excited about the next 10 years of your future and where you're going to be going.
I can feel it. I can literally feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Anybody listening, if you'll just do those two things. First thing is, remember, everybody listens to one radio station, WIIFM, What's in it for me. So don't talk about the benefits of your product. If you do, talk in terms of bridging it to their heart, what this means for you is, and then give them one or two things. So like selling insurance, for example, right? Like I get pitched all the time with like people want me to do life insurance and all that. They try to sell me life insurance, and we've got these better life insurance products, and we got term and universal, and here are our rates, and guaranteed full, ceiling, and all that stuff, right? And tax deferred, right? I'm like, that's great, right?
For me.
Nobody says, what this means for you, James.
Oh.
If you want some guaranteed income, and you want to make sure your family is safe and protected, God forbid something happens to you. And if you want to have some, income coming in monthly at a certain age, because maybe you don't want to work as much, man, you're going to love this. This is exactly what you've been looking for. No one has to be like that.
James, that's awesome. And but it almost sounds like manipulation. Okay. And now, can you tell me the difference? Because I know you speak on this positive influence versus manipulation. And then I love it. The power of the napkin. Teach us, please.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Let's see if I have a napkin here. Actually, I will run and grab one while we're talking.
I didn't know you're going to be doing suicides.
Yeah. So, people were, okay. So well, am I not manipulating people when I do that? So I had a guy who has written numerous books on persuasion. I think one's even called The Art of Persuasion. And he's a friend of mine. And I asked him several years ago, I said, the same question. I said, is this manipulation, or is it influence, and he said, listen, I know manipulation better than anybody because I grew up in a cult. He said, my mother married the cult leader, left my dad and married the cult leader.
Oh my gosh.
He said, so in essence, what he said was this, and he went his whole life. He's written, 10 books on persuasion, etc. And I don't know anybody knows more about influence and persuasion than him. And he said, very serious, very, very simple. He said, manipulation is when you're doing something that is not in the best interest of other people. And I don't care how they twist it, is what he was saying. He said, they know dang well, like getting people to drink cyanide, that is not good for people. That's manipulation, right? Getting people to invest with you and you're going to swindle their money because you're running a Ponzi scheme, that's manipulation, okay? Said positive influence is when you truly believe in your heart and your soul that what you have will help people. And by the way, I will share this. If you don't believe that what you offer is the best in your industry for helping people, go do something else, get with somebody else. I tell my students all the time, right? How many of you believe in what you're doing? And people raise their hand. I said, how many of you believe that it aims, adds value, makes a difference, and enriches people's lives? Everybody puts their hands up. I said, why would you want everybody to buy it from you? Right? The problem is people don't think that way. Like, I need to buy this from Mike. So you must phrase things in a certain way that pushes people over the line, positive influence, so that they can now work with you, your great company, your great product, so that they truly can now see and experience the results they can get because of you've been doing this for so long or your past history. So the way he explained it is manipulation, doing things when you know it's not in the best interest of other people, and positive influence, doing things to push people over the line because you know it truly will help them and make a difference. Like I always say, like when I make an offer for someone to come to my Big Money Speaker boot camp or to do my now online training, bigmoneyspeaker.com online training, I truly believe. I did a webinar yesterday. We had 370 people registered. And before I get on that webinar, I know every single person needs this because I know it will change their life. Therefore, I have no problem working on my structure of the presentation on what I say here and making sure I'm saying you and your versus I, me, we, or us. Because I know if I could just get them over the hump to try us, I know what it will do for them because I've got thousands and thousands of testimonials from people like that, right? So that's what you have to believe about your great product and your great service is when you have their best interest at heart and you know it'll add value, make a difference, and enrich lives, you've got to do something to push them over or they won't get a chance to really have transformation. I always say this, last thing I'll say before I do the napkin, is I always say, have you ever had somebody come up to you and thank you years later, like, man, when I first heard you talk or when you met me at that coffee shop and pitched me on your company, or I didn't really want to do it, I wasn't interested, but here we are 8 years later and I'm so grateful. I started to do X, Y, Z. I started to put money away. I started investing in your fund, whatever that might be. So I said, you always got to remember back to that. Like, you got to push people over because people don't consciously, right, and logically, they can't get it. By the way, last thing, stop trying to present logic to people. That's not how people buy. We buy emotionally. Buy emotionally. And you can change people's feelings simply by how you language them. And therefore, they'll push over, they'll experience your great stuff, and then you can truly make a difference in their lives for many, many years.
Yeah, I think it comes down to, somebody said this before, but as I believe,
Oh, yeah.
I am believed.
Yes.
James, what happens if my belief wavers? How do you, maybe my fund isn't performing as well as I might have thought it should? How do you help a guy to do that? And, obviously you don't just quit and run off to the next thing. How do you come back to your belief? How do you not lose your religion in your beliefs?
Well, see, I think that's where it comes down to the quality of your fund, quality of your company, and you got to look at past history, right? See, like, we've all done this where we've all gone into situations. I too, recently, not too long ago, new business venture I went into, and it didn't happen as fast as I thought it was going to happen. And some of the folks on the ship, so to speak, wanted to bail off the ship and quit. And they were like, why are you not doing this? I said, because I know this is a great ship, so to speak. I know this is a great bit. We're going to help a lot of people. It's just we haven't figured it out yet. Or there's a switch in the economy and we're having a little downturn. But I believe in the essence of what we're doing. And I know we have a great product and a great organization here. We got great people. So I'm going to stay focused on that versus the adversity we're going through right now. And I always say adversity is the best university because from adversity, you're taught lessons if you allow your eyes and ears to catch the message and learn from it. So as we were not succeeding as fast as I thought we could, I'm learning from it. Like, okay, so let's have a meeting here and let's have a learning. What are we going to learn from it? I always say, failure is the best fertilizer. Right? And everything I've ever learned about succeeding, I've learned from failing. And so, like, what can we learn? We're going through a verse. My friend, one of my best friends is a guy named Joe Theismann. He's a former NFL quarterback for the Redskins.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
If you heard of Joe, yeah. He's literally one of my best friends. I've known Joe for 25 years now. And he's sort of the guy that got me into speaking and told me to, keep doing this speaking thing. And so he's always speaking at my events and coming to my mastermind. He's just an awesome guy. And Joe's made about $40 million as a speaker. I mean, he's just one of the most successful speakers out there. Most people don't. And that's after he left football. Okay. And so Joe has a great line. He says, I've never had a failure in my life. I've just had educational experiences that haven't gone my way.
That's a good attitude to have.
It is, yeah.
Hey, we don't want to leave that napkin. Did you happen to score one? Okay.
I got it. I don't have a napkin, but I got a bath towel. Okay.
You're a big guy.
So I grabbed the bath towel because it was handy. So it's like a little facial towel. So I'll fold it up here. All right. So anyone watching, I've been teaching this for some 20 years, and I learned this from a good friend of mine years ago. And it's called The Power of the Napkin. And I'm sorry if there's any screeching here with my voice as I tuck this in. But when we are born and we come into this world, we get a bib placed under our chin. And we get, if you know anything about your subconscious mind, you get programmed at a very early age when this happens, that is how you should go through life. People giving to you. In essence, what you don't realize is being a taker. So when people are constantly giving to you and you are conditioned to believe that people should be giving to you, and again, it's not your fault, it's how we get conditioned at a young age, right? And that's what sticks into the computer, the subconscious mind, and that's the programming running in your subconscious mind. So therefore, you do what you know. That's the way your engine runs. So that's how you go through life. And so we go through life thinking this way, right? And you don't even know most of the time that you're doing this, okay? First part of all transformation is awareness. Once you are aware, man, you can transform anything, okay? So check this out. Once you're aware of what I just shared with you, this is called the power of the napkin. You have a bib. You can now choose to take that bib off from around your neck and drape it over your forearm like you are a server in the finest dining establishment on the planet. And you always approach every prospect, customer, family member, anybody you come in contact with. How can I serve this person? What could I do for him or her to make his day or her day better? What could I do? I truly want to help people. I want to add value, make a difference, enrich lives. So I got to get them to invest with us, invest with our company, because I know that's the best serving for them and will change their life. So therefore, I've got to commit and discipline myself to make sure I'm languaging things the right way that gets them to take a chance with us so that I can really help them and our company can really make a difference in their life. So that's what I call the power of the napkin. Don't wear the napkin.
Wholesalers, financial advisors, you're welcome. Again, just an atomic bomb full of value. James, that was awesome, man. Hey,
thank you, my friend.
Wrap this up. I know you got a call coming up or a guest coming over. You mentioned.
Yeah, the guest coming over.
Quick question for you, and these are my signature questions. I'll kind of abbreviate.
Okay.
Them.
Yeah. Go ahead.
If you pick the phone up, and on the other end of the line was a 24-year-old James Malinchak, and you only had a couple minutes with him, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Oh, it would be everything I said here today. And it would be, the thing that will change your life. And let me give a couple aspects. The thing that will change your life in business is you got to learn how to convert, and you've got to learn how to market. You got to learn how to market and then convert people. A lot of people market, but they can't convert them.
Okay.
Right? Using languaging like you and your, approaching people with the belief that, man, I got to serve people and they need this. So therefore I got to change my languaging. Don't talk about my product and how great we are and how we've been in business, what this means for you. I mean, you got to convert. It's one of the most important things in business. And I wish I'd have learned that back when I was 24 years old. From a personal side, as you're going through business and growing your business, don't forget your family, and don't forget that the most beautiful gift in this world that we all have is this, the air you breathe. And I learned that when my sister Vicky unexpectedly died of a brain tumor several years ago. And what I realized was one of the most precious commodities next to that, breathing, next to air and breathing, the most precious commodity you have is time, right? Because my sister Vicky doesn't have any more time, right? And think about this, every minute you waste, you never get back the rest of your life. Look, if you lose a customer, your biggest one, you go get another one. If you go bankrupt, man, you come back stronger. It happens every day. But you can't get back more time. Think about that. Every minute you spend is lost. Every second you spend is lost forever. Don't disrespect your time. Don't undervalue it. And don't ever let anybody steal it and waste it, right? So, and when you realize how precious time is, and at the end of the day, it's something my dad taught me, he would always say, son, I'm so happy for you, man. You got this success and this success, but son, my dad never went to college. He was a steel worker. He said, just remember, son, be good to people because you ain't taking any of that stuff with you. You came into this world with nothing on your back, and you're leaving this world with nothing on your back. So that's what I would tell the 24-year-old.
Dude, blessings to your family, and appreciate you sharing that with us.
Thank you, buddy.
Those are words of wisdom for sure. Last question for you.
Yeah.
If I could grant you a legitimate superpower, James, what would you choose, and what would you do with it?
Oh, honestly, for me, it would be to end sickness for little kids. It just breaks my heart, and of course for anybody, but nothing breaks my heart more than when I see a little sick kid with their head shaved, in children's hospital, or, they're not worried about scoring a touchdown. I mean, they're not worried about closing a deal. All they want to do is live a day without sickness, and that if I could have a superpower, it would be that no kid ever anywhere in the world has to experience disease and sickness or anything like that. And they would get through that and always feel well.
James, you never cease to impress, my man. I appreciate you very much. Thanks for being on the show today.
Absolutely, Mike.
Thanks for all the work that you've done. And I'm sure I can say it on the behalf of the millions of people whose lives you've made better. Thank you for all of your work. We all wish you much success and fortune both now and in the future. And as we say on the Awesome Wholesaler Experience podcast, James, It's about the journey, and we definitely wish you well on yours. I look forward to seeing you again soon. And a huge thank you to everyone that's tuning in today. And if you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button, join the notification squad, click that little bell to make sure you never miss a new episode like this episode with James. And don't keep the show a secret. If you feel inclined to do so, share this episode with your friends and colleagues that might enjoy it as well. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the show. And, of course, thanks for being awesome. Good night, everybody.